Guys, I finally got my new microphone. This is so epic. I mean, I know it's not perfect, but at least I don't sound like a potato. Anyway, I'm ranking Creo songs again, but instead of doing 2020 and 2021, I'm gonna just do 2020 because I'm decided that I'm gonna bunch 2021 and 2022 together because Creo has only released like 6 songs in total between those 2 years. 2020 also just had enough songs to stand by itself, and I feel like my opinions have changed quite a bit between now and when I originally made this video. Also, keep in mind, this is coming from a fan. An idiot sandwich of a 15-year-old who doesn't know a thing about music theory or whatever. So don't expect me to be analysing how this transitions into that to create a feeling of this. Creo's 2020 was in my opinion his peak. His songs since have still been up to the quality of these, and some go even further, but he just barely releases songs anymore. This year has no mediocre songs. It was probably the hardest year to rank, but I tried my best. This intro has gone long enough, so let's just get started with number 9. In number 9 is a song that seems to call back to his more guitar-based roots, Awaken. I'll get my main 2 criticisms out of the way first. The first one is that some segments, especially during the beginning, just drag on a bit too long without doing anything different or changing things up. The second is that it's just a wee bit repetitive. Awaken is one of the only Creo songs that I've grown to like less and less with time. But that shouldn't be taken too badly, as it's still an absolute banger, and it could also be because I just used to listen to the song constantly and I might have gotten sick of it. Now to talk about the good part of the song. The drops are so good, like I don't know how Creo can make them feel this perfect. Apart from the repetitiveness, there isn't anything bad about them. They just feel so high in quality and are amazing. Also, can't forget to mention that this is the first song to feature Anthony. I love Anthony. We all need more songs with Anthony. Please. Octane was originally in last, but because of how good most of the parts are, I just couldn't have it that low. I've seen a lot of people saying that this one is mid, and I could not see where they were coming from for the longest time. But now I sort of get it. It's mainly the drops. I just don't think Creo should have used this melody for a drop. It feels slow and anticlimactic. After the first part of the drops, however, as the melody of the pre-drop becomes melody of the drop, the song steps up tremendously. Speaking of the pre-drop, it is actually amazing and creates a sort of ominous atmosphere, something that I don't see often, and it's, in my opinion, really hard to get right. One other gripe I have is that it just finishes too quickly. If the main song had to finish there, I wish it could have done a sort of weekend dream and had one final part. I'll also say that it sounds very advanced. It seems like Creo was experimenting with new transitions, effects, and just sounds in general. In my opinion, he did amazingly. Although Octane is second last in this list, that obviously doesn't mean that I don't like it. It's still a song I would have on my playlist. It really pains me to have this one so low, but unfortunately that's just the nature of making a ranking video. If the parts that I talked about were improved though, this would be in the top 5. In 7th place is Lightmare. It's one of Creo's longest songs, but it never feels like it exists for longer than it needs to, unlike songs like Nautilus, Memory, and especially Unveil. There is a reason that this song isn't very high on the list though, and that's the fact that the first drop is just kinda mid. It just continues off the melody without introducing anything other than kind of stereotypical drop noises, and while I do understand that people like that, I personally don't find it as edible as most. The second half is amazing though, and the first segment of the second drop is pure bliss. It feels so unique for an EDM song, and yet still finds a way to sound like a song Creo would make. And when the saxophone joins in, holy shit, it just becomes some of the coolest stuff I've ever listened to. I wish the final part of the second drop was a bit more, I don't know, extra, though. It just could have used some more intensity in my opinion. The end of the song is also amazing and finishes the song in a very satisfying way. Oh my god, this list was so hard to make, but in number 6 is Worlds. Now I know a lot of people consider this to be one of Creo's best songs, but even though it is a banger, I wouldn't consider it to be the best of the best. The drops are very cool, especially the second one, but I really wish that the third drop wasn't just the first drop copy and pasted. It was a bit of a letdown when I first heard it. Speaking of the second drop, oh my goodness gracious, it is quite good. I especially love the transition into it. It's unique but works really well. I also like the parts that aren't drops too, but to be honest, I find them pretty forgettable. Also, the song ends too quickly, like Octane. Again, I wish it did a Weekend Dream and made another separate ending section. I still love this song though, but like Awaken, it's one of the ones that have fallen a bit in my rankings. Also, the animation for this song is just so cool. It feels like it's completing an arc of some sort, even if it isn't. Okay, this is where it gets really hard. Number 5 and number 4 were so hard to split up, and I feel like my mind switches all the time, but number 5, for now, is Exosphere. This song is the most Creo a song can be. Amazing saxophone, intense but unique drops that build as the song progresses, and amazing build-ups. It's the complete package and I cannot find anything wrong with it. I will say, however, the repetitive sax melody seen in places like the start could have done with being changed a bit as the section continues, but that is such a tiny nitpick and it doesn't really matter. I also love the second drop. It feels like an amazing, natural and climactic finish to the song. I don't know what else to say about it, it's just really good. This one was originally number 5, but upon listening to it again, I had to put it at number 4. Endless has an amazing atmosphere, and trying not to sound too cheesy, it feels sad and emotional, but also hopeful in a way, especially in the second drop. Oh my god, the second drop is some of the coolest shit you will ever hear. The song ends at a perfect place and time, and the whole thing just feels so complete. I can't think of anything that I don't love about Endless. It kind of feels wrong putting it at number 4. I guess it just goes to show how amazing Creo is. Okay, yet again I'm having trouble separating a couple of songs. This time, however, it's just the top 3. I feel like my opinion on them switches constantly, and tomorrow I'll look back on my list and feel like I got it completely wrong, but I'll try my best. Third place is crazy, literally. The first drop is perfection. It has the perfect amount of intensity to come after the pretty small but effective pre-drop. Even though I'm allergic to microwaves, I still love this song. It truly does go crazy. The guitar solo in the middle normally would seem out of place, but Creo somehow made it fit. Then we get to the part holding this song back from being placed higher. The first part of the second drop is nowhere near as good as the first drop. Although it is experimental and has some interesting ideas, unfortunately it has the same issue as Octane, where it just shouldn't have been in that song. At least the second half of this drop just goes back to the first drop's melody, but even still, I wish it progressed a bit more and added something to make it sound just a bit different. But like, this song is third for a reason, it's amazing. Now to the last remaining song in the Octane EP, Ballistic Funk. This song sure lives up to its name. It is exactly what you would imagine a song named Ballistic Funk to be like. You might have noticed, but I love drop progression, and this song does it amazingly. The first drop is kind of separated into 2 different parts. The first part being a cool but oddly empty section, and then transitioning into the second part, which is much more epic and feels like something you would hear in a party. Then the next parts all come in, all of them building towards the second drop, which is some of the coolest shit I've ever heard. It is one of the best build-ups I've ever heard and is paid off perfectly with the drop. Holy shit, this drop is truly something else. I cannot get over how amazing it sounds. I am disgusted that I used to think this was the worst of the EP by a fair margin. Obviously back then I wasn't very intelligent. And finally we arrive at the best song for 2020. You know what it is? It's Dark Tides. This might be the Creo song that has grown on me the most. Because holy shit, this might just be the best atmosphere in any Creo song. The drops are such a pleasure to listen to, and everything else is just as good. Dark Tides is never afraid to try something new, and when it does, it's an absolute treat. This song is also pretty nostalgic to me, as I listened to it on repeat during 2020. Jeez, 2020 is already starting to feel nostalgic. Anyway, Dark Tides is an absolute masterpiece of a song, and continues to rise on my rankings every time I listen to it. I don't know what else to say, it's just such a good song. Okay, that was my ranking of all of Creo's songs during 2020. Let me know what you thought about my rankings and tell me your opinions too. I really love reading comments like that. I know I said I would try to make more GD content, but to be honest, I'm just not having fun with Geometry Dash anymore. I'm probably going to stop making GD content altogether because although it's the content that gets the most views, I just don't want to make content for it. I'm still not exactly sure what I'll be doing in the future though, so look out for my next Creo song ranking video where I will update you guys on what I decide to do. I might stream in the future and try to get back into GD, but I don't know how that'll go. Just don't expect a lot of Geometry Dash based content in the future. Sorry for the empty promises I made in my last 2 videos. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you later when I rank Creo songs from 2019. I'm looking forward to remaking that video because wow, those songs are great. Some say it's Creo's peak. Alright, see ya.